Well, the SEC is back at it again, filing paperwork to try and supplement their own authority as to why the judge should strike down Ripple's fair notice defense. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about what they actually submitted and what Ripple did and what's the time frame for this to actually get decided on. I'm going to talk about that in today's video. And while we're all waiting for that to happen, everybody's got their eyes on the markets because there's a lot of macroeconomic issues going on right now. Bitcoin is actually currently pumping. It's up over $37,700 as we speak. And if it closes higher than a certain number, it could actually go much, much higher. So I'm going to briefly go over that. I'm also going to talk about XRP as well as the Sologenic NFT marketplace that is in the middle of launch. Hey everybody, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, I'm covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, but I'm also covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all those topics interest you, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also hit that bell notification icon so YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And if you're feeling generous, I'd appreciate it if you do two things. Hit the thumbs up button and watch the video all the way to the end. Those really are the two best things you can do to support a YouTube channel. So with that out of the way, let's jump into it. So let's talk about the markets currently, as Bitcoin has just passed $37,700. I was recently looking at some technical analysis, some macroeconomic analysis, as well as some on-chain analysis. I typically take a look at that at least 3 to 4 times a week from some of my favorites, such as Will Clement, Benjamin Cowen, and even that Martini guy. So recently, I was looking at some of the support and resistance levels of Bitcoin, and from what they were talking about, it looks like we're nearing a point of possible no return. That being that if Bitcoin breaks the resistance level of approximately 39,000 and keeps it clear, there's a very good chance that we probably won't return to the low 30s, at least right around a $30,000 mark, which is what some people are saying could be. We could see a wick before another run up if you want to get up to 40. Might not happen. If it gets above 39,000, the next resistance level would actually be up above 42,000 or right near 42,000. And if that is cleared, it could be onward and upward for quite a while. Now, of course, XRP and rest of the altcoins are going to follow suit. From some of the technical analysis from XRP is that it's looking right now being at about 60 cents. If Bitcoin were to actually do that and clear 42,000, XRP would likely be in the neighborhood of 80 cents very quickly. And speaking of XRP and the XRP ledger, the new NFT marketplace from Sologenic just launched yesterday, although it's still not officially launched. You can actually go and check it out from the sologenic.org website, as well as the Sologenic Dex. Click on the NFT button and you can go check it out from there. There are thousands upon thousands of NFTs that have already been minted. However, Sologenic did have to disable the buy button as there was a few bugs that recently came up from their essentially pre-launch several days ago. So they're working on getting that out. But in the meantime, you can check out some of the NFTs that are already being put on the marketplace and maybe scope one out for yourself. All right, so now let's take a look at what the Ripple versus the SEC case is doing, because there's been some developments. So just the other day, the SEC actually just filed some papers with Judge Knepper, and it was actually in support of their argument as to why they think the judge should strike Ripple's fair notice defense. They actually submitted a case that just ended, literally on January 21st, a case that just ended in which there was a case that's not even in the Ripple versus the SEC's jurisdiction. It was a case from down in Florida, and it was a case where the defendant was claiming fair notice defense. The SEC went for summary judgment against it, and they actually won. Now, from what I've been seeing on Twitter, it looks like this case doesn't really make sense as to why the SEC actually submitted it as a supplemental authority, because, as John Deaton pointed out, this case is barely above meaningless to the Ripple versus the SEC case. This was basically about a guy in Florida who bought a ton of penny stocks, waited a 6-month period, repackaged them, and then sold those penny stocks for a big profit. Now, what he was supposed to do was actually register with the SEC as a broker to make that all legal. He didn't. So what the SEC said was that he didn't follow the guidance, that there was plenty of guidance, and the defendant was claiming fair notice defense because there wasn't specific language specifically about what he was actually doing with his type of investment products. The SEC said, well, that doesn't really play because there was plenty of guidance in your jurisdiction from your localities about the rules surrounding what you're doing, maybe not necessarily for your specific investment product. So the SEC went ahead and won that case in a summary judgment, striking his fair notice down. Now, they actually submitted this case in the SEC versus Ripple. literally the next day, the Ripple responded to that case in their arguments against it. I mean, it didn't take any time at all. And somebody asked, well, how did Ripple respond so quickly? Usually they take at least several days to put something together. Did they know this was coming? What's the deal? John Deaton said, no, likely they saw this and saw how almost pointless that this case is and how irrelevant it really is to their case, and so they responded quickly, citing all the things like it being out of jurisdiction. And of course, Ripple went ahead and supplemented their argument with a case that's actually in the New York Second Circuit Court where this case is actually taking place. And attorney Jeremy Hogan, who's been covering this case really, really well, basically said that the case that the SEC submitted won't win in this point in the case because it really has no bearing on the motion to strike the fair notice defense. This would actually come later in the case when more of the evidence is being uncovered. And when looking at timeframes, he said likely this won't even be ruled on until probably March. He said after Judge Torres gets the handoff from Judge Netburn, after all this discovery is done, then she will likely be able to make a decision on the fair notice defense, which is to say she's actually going to rule on what the SEC has been trying to say with a motion to strike Ripple's fair notice defense. But I also wanted to point out, as Jeremy Hogan has been talking about this a lot more recently, in fact, he's going deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole, joining the rest of us who have been really talking about this on Twitter for a long time, and that is there's something really, really fishy about the SEC doing such gymnastics, as Jeremy Hogan put it, to try and avoid getting all these emails around the Bill Hinman speech to continue to be sealed. They do not want to turn this over to Ripple. Jeremy Hogan is now starting to speculate that there could be some major bombshells that could absolutely destroy their case if some of those emails actually came out. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, because it seems like right now the SEC is just grasping at straws, trying to submit a case that really has no bearing on the Ripple versus the SEC case as supplemental authority, and the fact that they're doing this so late in the game to try and support their case really just goes to show that they never really had much of a case to begin with. Because if you had a strong case, why would you be submitting a case that's almost irrelevant? So right now, for our time frames, we're probably not going to be looking at any major rulings until March 1st, which is actually one of the first days in which Jeremy Hogan said you could expect a potential settlement to come out. Because as we know, Jeremy's been saying sometime between March 1st and October, we could be looking at a potential settlement. So as this case moves out of discovery and into the trial phase, it's going to get really interesting. So if you want to follow along with this case specifically, as well as other cryptocurrency news and of course investment markets, then don't forget to subscribe to the Late Night Grind community. And if you want to continue this conversation, you can always follow me on Twitter. I have a link in the description down below. You can follow me on Twitter, as well as several of the other people that I mentioned in a lot of my videos. So if you haven't already, go ahead and join me there. Well, once again, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, for giving it a big thumbs up, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.